We're seeing collegiate recovery programs. I go to a large campus and I walk into an open recovery support meeting on the campus, and I'm stunned to see 200 students in the room. This is in an abstinence hostile environment, agreed? Which is how I would characterize most colleges and universities in the United States.
The partying on college campuses would truly jeopardize somebody's education to the point where I would imagine a lot of people would either relapse or leave if they don't have support. Because if college life is sort of organized around being with your peers, and all your peers are drinking and getting high, and you're trying not to drink and get high, I don't know how long you can keep that up, frankly. If you can prevent relapse at the high school level and the college level, you would have a lot more than 23.5 million people in recovery. And you probably also would have a lot fewer than 23 million people addicted, because it would become part of a culture.
I didn't actually end up using until I got to college. You know, I was let me drink until I got drunk, because I didn't know how to deal with the anxiety that I was feeling of being somewhere new and being somebody that I didn't know anymore. And it was hard. So eventually, I found somebody who was using crystal meth. And that was kind of where it just like, it was it. Like one time, that's all it took.
Devin, James, McCoy, Fox.
It was like a couple years later and like a couple rehabs later that I finally entered into my own process of recovery and identifying that my life needed to make a change.
You know, I entered into recovery when I was 20 years old. About a year into it, I decided that it was time for me to go back to school. And I was really scared. I was really, really nervous, because when I started to drink and then use drugs, I started when I was in school, when I was 18 years old. And I was deciding to go back to the same school that I was at. And the beautiful thing is that the school that I went to is Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And they have had a collegiate recovery program for 25 years.
When I first met Devin, he told me how serious he was about recovery, and he was nervous about the recovery house. And I said, why are you nervous about the recovery house? He says, I want to make sure that they're as serious as I am. That sounds good. Come right in. You know, you're accepted. Let's go.
The recovery house has given me the place to be where I felt safe. You know, it didn't keep me clean, but it gave me somewhere where I felt like I could go home, I could rest my head at night, and like not necessarily worry that somebody across the hall from me was getting high. You know,
My title is Recovery Advocate for the state of New Jersey for the Division of Mental Health and Addiction Services. What? Like, who gets that? You know, like, that's insane. Like, I used to smoke crystal meth.
I really, really urge you to consider like expanding the continuum of care to include recovery support. Because without recovery support services, like, I wouldn't be here today. You know, I tried to kill myself 2 times, and I didn't think I was going to go back to school. And if I didn't go back to school, I wouldn't have graduated with my bachelor's. I wouldn't have graduated with my master's. I wouldn't have stayed in the momentum, and I wouldn't have gotten my job at the division. You know, and I wouldn't have had the opportunity to stand here and be this person in front of you. You know, and I think that speaks for itself. So thank you.
Young people like Devin Fox, programs like Rutgers and the Boston Recovery High Schools offer promising evidence of the future of the recovery movement.